Is this like turkeys voting for Christmas, Del? I mean, why do you want to see millionaires like yourself taxed in this way?
Well, we're turkeys voting for a better house, right?
Yeah.
Because we live in this country, and this country is crippled by inequality. It's crippled by it. 5 million people live in poverty. 1 million kids don't have a bed to sleep in tonight, right? Seventh biggest economy in the world. All the guff that Danny Kruger talks about, respecting wealth makers and the contribution they make, is just guff. They don't pay proportionally more. He's absolutely wrong to say that. They pay proportionally less, a lot less, half as much. And so we have to change our tax system to bring some fairness and some balance into it. That's what it's all about.
So is it scaremongering then, or are we going to experience a brain drain among millionaires and young, ambitious people to go elsewhere?
It's scaremongering. The data doesn't back up what he's saying. People like to live here, right, Joe? Like you like living in Bristol. I like living here. People like living in London. Nobody's going to uproot their family for the sake of a few £100,000 when they own £20 million, let's say, for example, or anything over 10 million. The point of the tax is anything over 10 million. You got that kind of money, you're going to pay, £100,000, something like that. And, what are you going to do? You're going to sulk off abroad because of that and leave behind everything that's brilliant about Britain? I say no, it's not happening. People leave our country all of the time. They come back all of the time. You look at the immigration figures, it doesn't back up what Danny Kruger is saying.
Just because legally you can, exploit tax loopholes and stuff. And I mean, surely we've got a moral obligation, if we're doing well for ourselves, to be able to stay and fight to be able to look after the most vulnerable members of society.
Well, yeah, and we have a moral obligation to put back, don't we? Because people that made money here found success there. They did it because of our economy, built on taxpayer money, our roads, our hospitals, our education system. Everything about our economy makes it possible to be successful. And when you do achieve that success, you've got a duty to pay tax. It's putting back into the system that made you.
Is there anywhere in the world where there has been a wealth tax that's been introduced and it's thriving?
I'm not really sure. I think maybe I heard a state of America. I forget which one. France has
New England, wasn't it?
It might have been, yeah, it might have been. But the thing about America, Danny, is it's worth mentioning, actually. People say, oh, the rich will leave and then we'll lose even more, In America, they have a system. It doesn't matter where you live in the world, you pay tax in America. Right, if you're a citizen of America, you pay tax there. I say we should bring that here in Britain, and then we can end this angst, this false debate about people leaving. Some people do leave all of the time. Jim Ratcliffe, billionaire, made loads of money here, and then went fucked off to Monaco. I don't know if I can say that word on your show. Sorry.
No, you definitely can't. Sorry for that.
He took his money and legged it to Monaco. That is selfish. That's immoral. But if we had a law like America, it wouldn't work. It'd still pay tax here.
I mean, in your opinion, then, you make such a compelling case. Why is there such a reluctance to tax the wealthy in this way?
I think that mostly this right-wing narrative about wealth creators being the key to everything, and about how we mustn't scare them away. We've got to be so pleased that they live here and this kind of stuff. You heard it from Danny Kruger just now. I think it's kind of winning the argument. And you've got the right-wing press behind it, of course, as well. And they've got a very loud voice. They dominate our media. And it's a kind of philosophical, ideological battle that's been going on for decades in our country, really, between socialism and capitalism. And we've seen the damage that capitalism has done to us now in the last decade since Thatcher. The incredible disparity in our economy, which is just growing. The wealth tax itself, it's worth pointing out, would only affect 20,000 people out of 60 million. And they would only pay 2% on anything over £10 million.
How much money would that generate, Del?
£24 billion a year, right? We could fill a black hole every year with that. But more importantly, we could put money into the NHS, into everything, It would solve so many of our problems. And it's not that we're asking them to give more than they should, because actually, if you work for a living, you make your money with a pair of hands, so you'll pay twice the rate of tax than if you make money with money. If you invest in stuff and you make money, you'll pay half as much. You'll pay roughly 25%. If you work for a living, 50%. Now, that ain't right. And that gives the lie to what Danny Kruger said. They don't pay proportionally more. They pay proportionally much less.
It's so difficult to find a reason to argue with you. I know as the BBC, we have to say that we're looking for parity and stuff, but I genuinely listen to you and we make such a compelling argument. And also, you're one of those people, I mean, most of us, it's easy for me to sit here having nowhere near the amount of wealth that you've got, just going, well, yeah, Del Vince should be taxed so much more money. But the fact that you're coming on and saying it yourself is going to be music to the ears of so many people.
Yeah, like we said at the start, it's a good question. We're Turkey's voting for a better house to live in.
I
We
mean,
want a better country.
that is definitely it. I mean, you're off on tour as well. Tell us about this battle bus, what you're doing with it and where you're going next.
Yeah, it started in Edinburgh. It dropped into Stroud Monday this week, actually, and I did some interviews with them. Then they're off to London. I think they did some stuff in London yesterday morning. I couldn't be there, but they're creating waves, which is great. I mean, it is a group of millionaires. They are calling for more tax. They say we want to live here and pay more tax. We want this to be a better country. We want to put back into the country that helped us make success ourselves, and all of that is completely right, and the right-wing narrative around it is completely wrong. But if we need to change the law to take away the angst of this debate, let's change the law. And if you're a citizen of Britain, you pay tax in Britain, no matter where you live. Let's have it like that, like the US has it.
I mean, at the moment, like, are you nervous about the budget is coming? I mean, the Green Party seem to be in complete agreement with you in terms of taxing the rich, but the Labour Party don't seem to be making those strides yet.
Yeah. Rachel Reeves said a couple of interesting things. She talked a few weeks ago about how those with the broadest shoulders should carry the most burden. That was an indicator. She talked about having an exit tax so that if you do want to leave here to avoid paying tax, you pay your dues. You pay your tab for having made your money in our economy. And I thought to myself, well, you wouldn't be having an exit tax, Rachel, if you weren't planning a wealth tax. So I had my fingers crossed for that. But honestly, we've had so much news back and forth over the last 2 weeks. There could be a rise in income tax, drop in national insurance, or not, and then it's reversed. I don't know what's going to happen. There could be 5% off energy bills, VAT, 5% VAT off energy bills. One of the arguments I've been making, and it's a good example of how our tax system needs to be more fair, more progressive, is we put VAT on energy bills, which are an essential. And so many people, and today's a really cold day, will choose heating over eating this winter. But we have no VAT on flying. So why don't we take it off energy bills and stick it on flying? Half of our country, 50% of us never fly. 10% of us take 50% of all flights. Flying is for a holiday. Why doesn't it have VAT on it? Energy bills are to keep warm. Why does it have VAT on it?
Any plans going into politics yourself, Dal?
I think I'm in politics right now.
Yeah.
I considered standing in the last election, and I thought it's not going to suit me, right? To be in the House of Commons on 3-4 days a week, even towing party lines is not my thing. I like to speak out and say what I believe.